I can't find the words to explain to you how good these pro gamers are.
He's actually stimulus units as he leaves the base. He's trying to get so many other players' space that there's not even time for the Bailings to finish.
Naniwa's got his army split up. He's got one attack on the right hand side, another chasing down the army. Storms come down.
These are the best of the best in esports history.
And Huck's starting to blink forward as the Zealots are removed. The supply goes in Huck's favor.
So much energy. Where did that energy come from? Tanks desperately trying to target fire down Queens.
The Archon's moving forward. A lot is going down here, and only Colossus left over.
He's starting to get some feedbacks down. He's starting to advance forward. Another vortex.
There's the blink forward, trying to get underneath those Brood Lords. Oh, he sends the vortex.
Are you ready?
Ladies and gentlemen, hello and welcome from the MLG Studios here in New York City. You're watching day one of the Winter Season Showdowns, a series of matches where we decide who's going to qualify for the MLG Winter Championship in Dallas, Texas on March 15th. This is day one of what's going to be an amazing month to come, a month leading up to the championship event. So many awesome players are involved in this thing, and let's be a little bit more clear about what it is. First of all, I'm axeltoss, he's axslav. We're talking about the Winter Season Showdowns, which is a pretty interesting thing we got going on here that I think a lot of people are going to enjoy. That being said, let's check out that format so we can get a little bit more clear of a picture of how this is going to work. 56 players were invited to these matches, divided by region. Some from Korea, some from Europe, North America, SEA. 28 1-versus-1 matches, best of 5 games. That means the winner of those best of 5 games will qualify for the Dallas event, all expenses paid. 28 players are going to make it to Dallas, Nick.
It's a lot of players.
To join the 4 that are already there: Flash, Bomber, Life, and Leenox. So definitely a star-studded lineup here, and I couldn't be more excited for this. A trip to Dallas for a lot of these people, a trip to perhaps their first foreign event.
You know what's crazy? So there's 32 people at Dallas. There's $75,000 of prizes in Dallas. That means any player who qualifies, assuming they're on average of equal skill to the rest of the pool, their expected returns like over $2,000.
Yeah,
just for winning this one match, their expected return is huge.
It's an important match for all these guys.
It is.
And it's all in Heart of the Swarm. The Dallas event will be Heart of the Swarm exhibition tournament, and all of these matches will be best of 5 in Heart of the Swarm. It's gonna be amazing because a lot of these players we haven't necessarily seen play Heart of the Swarm. A lot of these players are the best in the world, so we're gonna see some innovative tactics, some innovative play, and hopefully learn some stuff at the same time. That being said, week 1 we're doing Kesma. We're starting off with the big dogs. Let's go ahead and show that on the screen. First up is gonna be Parting versus Fantasy, then Roro versus Hero, Innovations versus TY or Baby, Sulky versus Last, Rain versus Flying. So many amazing names on that list, and a nice racial distribution as well.
Yeah, I mean, we've got PVT, ZVP, TVT, ZV, yeah, everything. PvP.
Yep.
Every single matchup almost imaginable here. One every single day. I mean, Party vs. Fantasy is going to be exceptionally exciting.
Yeah, I mean, Parting, if people are wondering, okay, why is Parting Kesba? I thought he was on StarTale. Not too long ago, Parting made the transition
about 3 weeks, right?
3 weeks, Parting made the transition from SKT1 from StarTale to SKT1. So he went from an ESF team to a Pro League team, a Kesba team, and now he's going to play Fantasy. Unfortunately for them, it's going to be a team kill for these guys, but it's a little bit of a first world problem, but one of these guys is going to go to Dallas. That's going to be our first match of the day. But yeah, a lot of other great names on this list. We got Rain down there. You can never ignore him. Roro, he's been playing fantastically. Hero too. Innovation, he's been destroying. He had an all kill, maybe even 2 all kills recently in Pro League.
In the Winners League.
He's doing very well in Pro League right now. Just great names across the board. And again, all of these are going to be best of 5s. The winner will qualify for the Dallas event March 15th, the Winter Championships.
I gotta say one thing. I mean, you're talking about innovation partying. I actually was just catching up on some GSL games, and Sulky, man, that guy is
tearing it up.
Freaking amazing.
He's always been good. It's Woonjin Stars, man. Woonjin Stars is such a good team.
They are. absolutely amazing. And it's interesting because they weren't known as like one of the world-class teams in Brood War. They were a good team, but not, you know, people would say SK, KT, you know, those Samsung. Those are the 3 big names. Woojin though, StarCraft too, man. They're just powering out wins.
It's important to note though, this is all going to be Heart of the Swarm. So
It's true.
We're like right now we're talking about their results in Wings of Liberty. How much relevance is that going to have in these Heart of the Swarm games? Because we could have players who haven't been doing so well lately, like dare I say last. Like he's not doing incredibly well in Pro League right now. But you know, can these players get like flying? Maybe he's not someone that people think, oh, he's the best wing. He's one of the best Wings of Liberty players in the world. This is going to be Heart of the Swarm. This is a new game. So what kind of builds are we going to see that these guys, they're going into their man cave at their pro league, at their team houses, and they're constructing these builds on pieces of paper, and they're coming up with some amazing strategies.
We'll have to see what they come out with because, like you mentioned, I mean, they've got a whole team support and coming up with crazy strategies. A lot's going to be in store for us here.
And these are important matches. These are so important. Again, you win a best of 5. You win 3 games in a row. You get an all-expenses-paid trip to Dallas. So we could even see...
the prize is huge.
Exactly.
For only 32 people have a shot at that prize.
Yeah. So we could potentially see people just pull out ridiculous strategies in order to win these games because of how important they are. That being said, the first match of the night, we should talk a little bit about that. This is day 1. This is going to be match number 1. Parting versus Fantasy. And we got a PBT, we got a team kill. And of course, tomorrow is going to be Roro versus Hero. We're going to have 1 match every single day. Select Sundays as well. But Parting versus Fantasy, what a match to start out with.
That's absolutely amazing. I mean, the Soul Train guy, he actually hasn't struggled against any player in like the last month, really, or 3 months. Like,
yeah.
I mean, he's taking some losses, right? But over the last 3 months, he's looked to be like the strongest Protoss in the world. And I would even say, along with Life, him and Life currently look to be the 2 strongest players in the world. So, I mean, to beat Parting is going to be extremely tough.
Parting was the highest earning player in 2012, according to SC2earnings.com, $171,599.
And what's more important than that is that was all won over the
Yes.
last 2 months, which means that he was dominating more recently.
Yeah.
Like, let's say he won all those tournaments.
Like beginning of 2012.
It's so far long ago that if he won then, it might not be as relevant right now.
Honestly, I was looking at his total earnings. His total earnings was like $176,000.
Yeah, it's top. He's just exploded. He's like the maybe not the peak of his career, but he's at the highest point currently. He's at, you know, a current max of far as
That's why he got picked up by SKT1.
It is.
And his paycheck was public. It's big, guys. So, Parting, a fantastic Protoss player, arguably the best Protoss in the world. But again, this is Heart of the Swarm. So what does that even mean? It's a different game. But I'm sure he's been working on builds. Of course, we have Fantasy, who's been focusing a lot on Pro League. I know you have him on your Fantasy team.
It's my captain, man.
How's he been doing recently?
Not so long, but that's because he's been concocting some craziness. He's
Has
got
he
some
now?
madness in his
Is
plan
that
for
what's
Parting.
been happening? Is that why you're?
Well, look,
Is that why you have -5 on your Fantasy team?
It is, because let me put it this way. Fantasy is so good, he could not lose unless he was specifically practicing for Heart of the Swarm.
Honestly,
That's my conclusion. It's got to be that way.
well, like all joking aside, like this match is like again, it's a best of 5 to get to Dallas. I wouldn't be surprised at all if he at least attributed at least 40% of his practice time to Heart of the Swarm in preparing for this match. It's only one. That's the great thing about this for these players. You really only have to worry about one matchup, one best of 5. So if you devote, you don't have to practice all the matchups, right? Just to qualify for Dallas, you only have to focus on one specific player and then constructing builds to beat them. So
I like it.
I think that being said, we might be ready to get into the game, guys. Parting versus Fantasy. Game 1. It's about to start, and let's just throw out some predictions right now. Who do you got, Nick?
I gotta go with Fantasy. I'm sorry. I mean, I know I just said Parting.
You know, Fantasy points in they don't apply here.
I don't know. Here's my logic. I know Parting is one of, if not the best player in the world right now in Wings of Liberty. But Fantasy's best matchup in Brood War was Tyrann vs Protoss, mostly because of his amazing utilization of Vultures and Spider Mines. Now, in Heart of the Swarm, we've got Widow Mines.
I kind of like where you're going
We've
with
got
this.
a lot of. He's got all this harass potential. That's like mech harass potential that he was so good at in Brood War. Wings of Liberty, Tyrann didn't have that to the same degree. Heart of the Swarm, they do now. I think we're going to see an insanely scary Fantasy.
So what do you got?
I got Fantasy 3-1.
I like your theory. I like your theory a lot. I feel like Terran has a lot of tools that they can use in Heart of the Swarm. That being said, Parting being the winningest player nearly in 2012.
It's hard to go against him, isn't it?
Hundreds of thousands of dollars he's earned in the past year. I'm gonna take Parting here. I'm gonna take him 3-1. Let us know your predictions, guys. You can tweet at us at axeltoss, at axslav. Throw a tweet to at MLG as well. But here we are in game number 1. Such an important series. In the bottom left-hand location, we have the red Protoss player, Parting, from Team SKT1. Used to be on Team Startail. Let's see what he has in store for us in this Heart of the Swarm best of 5 match. His opponent in the top left-hand location, the blue Pro League Terran player, also on SKT1. It is Fantasy. He's got a little paw print next to this command center.
That's his little representational
that,
icon.
Wait, how did he get that?
You know, I've noticed symbols by solo players. Like if you know, I think it's for doing something extra special. So Fantasy.
So does this tell us he's been like? Does this prove your point? He's been grinding out Heart of the Swarm.
It's an achievement for some Heart of the Swarm action. So he's done. He's been playing some Heart of the Swarm, man. He's been playing. Unless it's a psychological mind game. He had someone else playing his account to make Parting afraid of him when he sees that
but
icon.
He blocked off his ramp, so the probe can't even see that pop.
You're right.
Man.
You're right. No mind games.
All right.
It's got to be just
unless
pure.
he purposely lowers his supply depot.
Or maybe when an observer comes in, who knows? Who knows?
Oh, SCV getting a little bit low on health, 15 HP. A few more zaps from that SCV could mean the demise. No, he's going to get away from the probe, I mean. Meanwhile, Fantasy's going to be scouting across the map here with his SCV. Let's see what he sees. 2 gases here from Parting, relatively fast. I mean, if we're talking about, you know, a Heart of the Swarm, or at least the PBT matchup as we knew it in Wings of Liberty, heavy 2 gases openings weren't as common. At least they, you know, everyone's going for the fast expand build. So is this something Heart of the Swarming we're about to see here?
If Vero might be, that extra gas, he get the Mothership Core faster, he could tech, proxy. You know what, it may be DTs. DT tech is much easier to access. It's not so much that, like, you couldn't go DTs before, but if you went DTs in Wings of Liberty, it took all your gas. And Heart of the Swarm, actually, wait a minute.
Stargate.
Not DT, Stargate. This could be the feared Oracle Rush.
Okay, so the purpose of this pylon, is that just to proxy units closer to Fantasy?
It's partly that, partly scouting, partly for late game too.
Okay.
You kind of always want the pylon in that location.
It's so dangerous, though. Your third pylon, putting it on the other side of the map, that's pretty vulnerable.
Yeah, but I mean, what's Terran going to have that's going to kill it?
Yeah,
and
that's true.
It might spot, like, a drop that's coming around the edge. Like, if someone's doing a, you know, a fast Hellion drop, or would mind drop, they want to go around the long way. I mean, they probably wouldn't, but if they did, you know, they'll spot that.
Very interesting play there. Oracle Rush. We might see it indeed.
And, you know, everyone in the beta I've talked to has said Oracles are so strong. They kill probes in 2 hits with an insanely fast attack rate.
Nicholas, are you disappointed?
Kind of.
Void Rays are good. We should talk a little bit about that.
They are really good.
In Heart of the Swarm, they have this new ability called Prismatic something.
Prismatic Alignment.
Nice.
You know, if you align a whole bunch of prisms,
yeah,
a prism can actually move light around. So if you align a whole bunch of prisms up so they all focus light at the same point, it's prismatic alignment.
Yep.
Void Ray attack is light-based, makes it stronger.
I like it.
Logicked out. You know, this is like an old Wings of Liberty build made stronger.
Oh, absolutely.
This
of
is
course,
old genius.
The bunker could melt away in a second if SCVs aren't there to repair it in time.
And you've got force fields maybe to help with that. The question is, how many Void Rays does he make? Usually this build is done with 2, but with the new Void Ray, maybe he'll go up to 3.
He only has 1 gateway here.
I mean, I'm sure he's adding more somewhere.
Oh, yeah, I see 2 in the back.
Okay,
I just now spotted them.
I mean, this is Genius has defeated so many Terrans in the early Wings of Liberty with this exact build. And you know, this is great against Fantasy. We talked about how a lot of these guys, when this build was popular, the Pro League guys were all playing Brood War. And so they actually missed this whole part of the metagame about the 1 base Void Ray all in. So Fantasy might not be ready for it. He might not know how to counter it.
You know,
I think it's a great choice.
Do you think Fantasy and Parting have been playing, you know, practice? They're on the same team now, so
this is true.
That's interesting to consider as well. How many practice games have they been playing?
I bet you Parting just plays all macro, and then they get in the tournament. He's like, gotcha. I'm gonna 1 base you.
Gosh, if I was the coach, I would be conflicted. But look at this. Parting is about to mount his attack. 2 Void Rays, 3 Stalkers, 3 Sentries, 3 Zealots. This is game 1 of this best of 5. And here Parting goes 2 bunkers on the high ground. Prismatic alignment is thrown down, targeting down that bunker. SCV is desperately trying to repair. Not going to be done in time. Switching over to the other bunker, but Parting is taking a lot of damage here.
He has both the bunkers down, but the Zealots are down. There's no more force fields. There's only a few Marines left. They've got to use that missile turret as cover. He's got to pull more SCVs out to be able to repair that missile turret.
These Void Rays have not been touched. There's no starport on the ground, so no likelihood of a Viking anytime soon. Fantasy going for the fast expansion build. Parting attributing all of his resources to one base to only to all these gateway units and 2 Void Rays, and Fantasy has no answer. How is he going to hold this off now?
I don't know if he can. He's at the point where he can only rally Marines 3 at a time. 2 Void Rays will kill those as fast as they produce. He's got to find a way to build up an army. He realizes he can't. GG is called, and wow, an early victory in game 1 by Parting, you know. I think Fantasy just didn't realize how to deal with that build.
So what it comes down to there is scouting. I think he did scout the early 2 gases, but then from there you have to kind of in your mind say, all right, what's he got coming up with me? Coming up at me, I should say, with these 2 gases. He wasn't able to scout the Stargate, unfortunately for him, and I don't think he scouted the Void Rays until the last second, but he didn't have an engineering bay. He didn't have a factory to eventually progress into that starport so you can get that Viking. He's pretty much relying exclusively on Marines. He had 2 bunkers, but obviously that wasn't enough. So what adjustments do you think Fantasy should have made during that game?
I mean, there's 2 ways to hold a build like that. One is you try to do what Fantasy did and you hold the ramp to natural, but you have to know what's coming. You have to pull about 12 to 15 SCVs beforehand and just totally surround that bunker. He had 2 SCVs. 2's not going to cut it. You got to have about 12. Or what you can do is you can give it the low ground, and if you build even just 1 bunker on the high ground but away from the edge, that means that only the Void Rays can hit it. If he wants to get the Stalkers, the Zealots in, they have to get on the ramp, and then they're funneled through 1 or 2 at a time. So the high ground of your main, just give it the natural of that CC, is much easier to defend. If you want to try to hold the natural, you've got to pull like all your SCVs right off the bat. And the interesting thing there is you don't actually need those SCVs because he's only got 3 barracks. So extra income doesn't actually help him in the near future, right? As long as he has enough income to support 3 barracks Marine production, that's all he can actually do. Of course, building more production buildings is not going to help him in the near future. So
because he's being attacked right now. He needs stuff on the field right now.
So using SCVs to repair or even to fight is a better option.
Yeah, which he ended up doing, but
too late.
Yeah, it's too late. You got to do it all at once. You got to make that decision in a split second.
So hard to do.
And you know, when your opponent is on 1 base, only has Stargate tech on the field, investing a lot into that, not necessarily making a lot of probes. Sometimes it's going to be worth it to lift that orbital into your main base and try to hold from there. But Parting did a great job disguising his attack, making sure his opponent had no intel whatsoever on what was coming until it was too late. Nice job targeting down the bunkers, taking those down quite quickly. We saw SCVs desperately trying to repair, and no Void Rays died in that engagement. So Parting with a very nice build there, showing the strength of early game Void Rays in PvT. This is a best of 5 though. That was game 1. These guys are playing for a spot at MLG Dallas on March 15th. Fantasy has some work to do. Parting looking good so far. Don't go anywhere. Game 2 coming up.